I have a question about a group that you might have been involved with at Allied Arts. The
Jess, over here. Over here.
Oh no.
Can't sniff the mic.
So this is a group that was called the Ad Hoc Committee for the Performing Arts, and they.
Right. Well, it sounds very familiar.
Paul was the was the I guess the I think he was the chair of the committee.
Right.
And they put out something called a proposal for the performing arts in Seattle, which was a formal proposal for where the performing arts should go.
What year was that?
It was around 73, 74.
Right. You see, so they were able to accomplish that for the performing arts, and you see, but then you took a look at the complete art scene, and that particular formula and format doesn't that doesn't fall doesn't assist the visual arts. So that's the challenge. You have institutions versus individuals. But no, I remember that. I don't remember all the details, but that was really, again, as an arts advocate for this city, Allied Arts played such an important role to articulate what we wanted to accomplish in funding and supporting the arts, and the performing arts in particular in that case. No, I remember that committee. I remember that committee, and all the contributions that Paul made, and his leadership, his vision. But I don't specifically remember all of the details. I think some of it was probably related to the budget size of the organization and so forth as to what they would qualify for. But I have to be honest with you, haven't looked through those papers for, now over 35 years ago or something.
But it's as you were saying, there was that kind of overarching view of all of the arts, the performing arts, the visual arts, that Allied Arts was involved in, as well as urban design and so forth. Are there any people that you remember particularly well that we haven't mentioned from Allied Arts itself?
Well, I really should go back to. I should go back through my papers because it's been such a long time, and I haven't been involved in a great deal of time. So I can't at the moment. I can't give you a list of names. But you've mentioned some of the really special people, and I know there are more. But at the moment I can't. I know I'd recognize the names right away, but it's been a few years.
Actually, I'm curious to get your take on. I know you worked with Wes Ullman and you worked with Charles Royer in your legislation work and advocacy, and do you recall that being very supportive of the?
I don't remember all the details. I remember Wes years ago, and of course he signed that legislation, and which was deeply, very appreciated and he supported that. And I remember Charlie, our Mayor Royer, and I very, I think more remembering the details of his administration. And he appointed me to the Seattle Arts Commission, and I've always had deep respect for him and cared for him as an exceptional human being, and he went on to contribute, in other ways to this city, but also his position was. When he was away from Seattle, what was he head of? But he was an outstanding leader. They both made major contributions to this city, and
I'd like to actually ask you about some projects that Allied Arts did that maybe you have some recollections of. First of all, there was a program called the Survival Series, which focused on bringing more attention to small arts groups and performing
Right.
arts groups.
I have to be honest with you that I remember the name, but I don't remember the details.
Okay.
But I do remember that name. I just haven't thought about it for so many years.
And there was also you yourself, I think, were involved in the Seattle Center for
Right, I was on the Seattle Center Foundation.
Could you talk a little bit about just the Seattle Center in general and your connection with that?
Well, you know, I was honored to serve on that foundation, and I think it's a gathering place for that city. That's a special treasure we have, and the buildings that have been built, and that wonderful fountain, as where everyone feels welcome, and I think it's important to have a center in the city where everyone can gather and come together. And I think it's going to be an asset having the Gates Foundation across the street, and the different theaters that are there, and what McCaw Hall has meant, the works of art that are saw the Lenny Schwendiger's piece that is on the side, the inside pieces. I was involved in the art that went into McCaw Hall, and I think the Seattle Center is we have a place that people can be very proud of. Virginia Wright did a superb job as leader, and now Robert, the new director, he's doing a terrific job. Well, that's not very good for this thing. And the current director is just stepped right into the job, and he is today an excellent leader for the center of the city. So it's something that we can be very proud of. I think there's some details that need to be taken care of. We have a little complication related to the Key Arena, but the arts facilities and the facilities outside, the Pacific Science Center included there, it's a special piece of property in the city, and we're very fortunate to have Seattle Center.
I know you were also, you were with Allied Arts during a couple of celebrations that they put on. One was Crafts Week, and another was the Art Deco celebration that took place. Maybe that was a little after.
Yes, I wasn't actually that involved in those particular projects.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
The other thing that I wanted to ask you about was the Kingdom, which I know that there was some connection between the Kingdom and some of the arts legislation.
That's right. It's very.
Some trade-offs, I think, that
right.
might have, which I'm just curious about.
I think there was a Michael Spafford there, wasn't there? But I don't remember the details of that. It doesn't come to my mind at this. I was more involved in the art that was going into the state capitol, and the unfortunate experience of the labors of Hercules.
What was that?
This was for the House chamber that they were commissioned. I worked very closely with the Speaker of the House, John O'Brien, and he really lovely man, important man that served. I don't know if it was 40, 50 years, a really long time in Olympia, and he was a Democrat, and he was a very, very good friend, and he got to know, visit the artist studio and so forth. And what happened, Mike Spafford was commissioned to do the labors of Hercules, and they were really, and truly an inspiration. But the problem was, we ran into a budget deadline there was a deadline that was ending, and we didn't have time. Here's a perfect example of things that happen when you don't prepare someone that's used to art that maybe is something they haven't seen before, and especially in a very public arena like that. We had to put the works up, and because of the budget deadline at the end of that, but count that budget year, and so there wasn't time to prepare the legislators for what they were going to see on the walls. And so without that preparation, there became a lot of controversy as to what they thought they were seeing on the walls. I mean, it would have been awesome because there were going to be murals at either end of the chamber, and also Alden Mason work was going in the Senate, and it was really unfortunate. It's a situation where a deadline did not allow us the communication that would have gained an understanding and inspired them what this opportunity meant, for the legislature. So that was quite a unique experience. But I don't know if you want to really get into that. Allied Arts wasn't involved in that, but I can give you more information on that some other time.
Interesting.
Yeah,
that's for sure. Well, we can move on to another area. That's for sure. I'd actually like to talk to you now about your other work, and Poncho is a great place to start. So, could you talk a little bit about that long experience with Poncho?
Well, initially, I said, "Oh, I don't think I want to do that job. You just they don't have any responsibility. It's just right." They said, "No, they were going to empower the executive director." So, I had the wonderful opportunity. Every year, you have a new president, and so the most important thing is to bring out all the special qualities that each individual brings to that position. And when I served as Poncho, the most important thing to us was to continue to increase the support that goes to the arts. And that was our highest priority. And of the 14 different, I'll never forget the individuals, and I'll always treasure some very special friendships that I had with exceptional people that stepped in and took on that responsibility. They had the gala auction each year, but the year of when Carl Benke finished his term, we took on creating the Poncho International Wine Auction. And that was, I'll never forget that, and that was a real commitment and a major contribution to the organization. I today still treasure the friendships of the individuals in that industry. They're exceptional people that have made, and it was such a pleasure to work with them. And of course, today we can be so proud of what the wine industry is in this state. And sitting down, symbolically sitting down with a fine bottle of wine or with an old bottle of wine that you treasure and bringing your friends around is a really beautiful symbol and a treasured symbol of friendship, and they have been very supportive, and that's been a very successful auction, also allowing Poncho to raise more money for the arts. That Poncho is different today than it was when I was there. We just had the two auctions, and we pretty much focused on. We didn't continue to expand our beneficiaries. We wanted to make sure that we were increasing, the amount of support that we gave to our beneficiaries, and I really appreciated it, and the opportunity of working with the presidents, the board, the wonderful volunteers that gave so much of their own personal time to assure the success of Poncho and raising more money for the arts. So I feel very fortunate.
When did the first wine auction take place?
I think it was 91. It was 91, and we were very. you know, I wanted to do it properly. So make sure that it was respected by the industry, and so the auctioneer initially was from Christie's, you know, and we had various chairmen that came in from France, like Mayelaine de Languesang from Pichon-le-Long, and all of a sudden the gentleman that created the Cabernet Sauvignon in the Andrei Chilichev, extraordinary man. He was one of our chairmen. We had, in those first years, it was pretty serious about the way our approach, and then we added a little more, you know, festivity to it. But initially, because we wanted to make sure that we had the respect of the industry, we wanted, you know, to make sure that, again, I guess I'm sort of hung up on the word integrity, but the integrity of what we were doing and who we were working with and what the support they were giving us, we wanted to make sure that we did a superb job for them also. So, and again, as I say, the friendships that I made during that period of time, I still treasure today. So it's people that care about the arts, about the city, and you know, about our quality of life, and they're pretty exceptional individuals.
And you were at Pancho for what years?
From 81 to 95.
81 to 95. Okay. The other areas that I wanted to ask you about were your work with the Arts Fund Committee and the Mayor's Task Force on the Arts back in the 70s.
Well, the Corporate Council for the Arts was the first name before they became the Arts Fund, and I worked on. I have files upstairs of the different. You called it the Mayor's Task Force.
Yes.
I mean, Paul had one. There were one. I worked on another one. I worked on the Governor's Task Force when John Spellman was there. I have files of the different task forces that I worked with, and we were at one point, one of the projects that I was very involved with, which is Arts Fund, was when the National Arts Stabilization Fund came to Seattle, and we worked through that process. And at the
Sorry, really.
oh, yeah. All right.
Okay. National Arts Stabilization.
Yeah, and Marcia Thompson was the head of that, and that was a national. And they were looking about granting funding to Seattle, and Peter Donnelly played a very key role in and he led the effort to secure that the corporate council would be the conduit or would receive those funds, and then they changed the name to the Arts Fund and from the Corporate Council for the Arts. And all of these, I really felt honored to serve on all these different task forces, because they again reaffirmed the value of the arts in this city, in this region, in this country. And but I have to be honest with you, I do have a lot of files, and it's been, because I'm serving on other commissions and other things today, I have to go back and refresh my memory on a lot of the details. But I was really honored to serve, and I was honored to serve at the city. And then when I did just finish the term, 2 terms with For Culture, the current cultural organization of the county, the For Culture replaced the King County Arts Commission, and so it covers the performing arts, the visual arts, historic preservation, and ethnic arts, historic preservation, and who am I thinking? When you talk about there's one that I'm missing, but anyway, it was a pleasure to serve that organization. That's the organization that is supported by the hotel motel tax in the county, and that's why that particular legislation, which has been under discussion now for about 4 years, is really critical that be addressed soon so that an organization can plan for the future. But to be able to serve on at the city, the county, and the state, and to serve on task forces that again are addressing the issue has truly been an honor. And so now it's time to bring that next generation in and get them energized to continue the commitment because of what the contribution the arts and culture make to this city, county, and state, this country.
Just the last couple of questions while we're on this subject. First is, with all of the years you've worked as an arts advocate and an administrator and a task force chair and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Looking back and seeing where we are now and then thinking about the future, what's your feeling about what it was like when you started and how, where we've come at this point and what we can kind of hope for?
Well, we can be so proud what we have in this community. We have, and I'll be upfront, I'm on the opera board, but I have the highest admiration for Spade Jenkins and with the opera. As I said earlier, I think today opera is a celebration of all the art forms. So it's visual, theater, voice, symphony, dance. It's just really an extraordinary celebration of life and the challenges of life. And we have an excellent Seattle Symphony. We have excellent theater community. We have smaller ensembles, larger ensembles. What Mimi Gates has done at the Seattle Art Museum and the new museum downtown, the museum has truly come of age. And the Olympic Sculpture Park, the Henry Gallery, the leadership that was given by Richard Andrews was exceptional, and now Sylvia Wolf, the new director, is excellent. I mean, we have exceptional people, exceptional citizens serving on the boards to assure that the future of these organizations. Because of this economy, it's a very challenging time, and I'm extremely grateful to the individuals that have continued to support these organizations. I have absolutely such respect for the leadership of those organizations that have just kept going and cut expenses as much as they can in place, but still bringing us the quality that they bring. The contributions they've made to education, the contributions they've all made to the greater Seattle area, the state. I mean, we have the cultural assets that we have in this city and this region in the county are extraordinary. And I think right now the greatest challenge ahead of us is how to assure the funding of those organizations. Because you see, ticket prices for the performing arts don't cover, I think it's less than half a time, that, I don't know the correct percentage today, but the amount of fundraising and work that has to be done. And these are all very intelligent, highly regarded individuals that have to make a living also, and yet add so much to the quality of life in this city. We are exceedingly fortunate, and I think we're looked at throughout the United States, and also, well, for example, internationally. This summer, the Wagner's Ring Cycle, we had 50 states represented, 23 countries, 3 cycles of the Ring, each cycle 4 operas, and practically sold out. And when you bring that quality and draw people from all over the world And then when they come to the city and they see all of the resources that we have, and the contributions that the arts and culture makes to the city, we're truly blessed, and we have an extraordinary city and region and county, the region in the state. But our challenge ahead is to how to sustain through these challenging times financially.
Do you, thinking about Allied Arts and the way that Allied Arts was able to kind of bring so many different groups together, do you see that kind of energy in the city today, where there's an ability to bring lots and lots of people together to focus on certain kinds of civic?
Well, I think today there are different organizations that bring and come together. I remember years ago, one of the things that I started was what's called the Arts Roundtable, and because I wanted the theater people to know the museum people and so, and it is not. I don't believe it continues today, but it was building a foundation of understanding of all the art forms and coming together to discuss and get to know one another better and understand one another, the challenges and the idiosyncrasies about all the various art forms. I think, I really don't know what Allied Arts, what their vision is today. I haven't been involved. But there's always room for dynamic leadership for something that a city treasures. And it's important, especially right now in this economic time, that we have strong leaderships that's discussing the future of the arts and how to financially secure this great asset that we have in this city and this region.
Yeah. Do you feel that with all these different groups competing for the small amount of funding that's out there, that that lends itself to maybe less cohesiveness?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. No, it doesn't necessarily. It doesn't have to in any way. I mean, there needs to be organizations that represent all of those different facets of the cultural community, and I think in understanding, and I also in attending performances and the large organizations understand the importance of the smaller new organizations. I mean, there's the gallery situation in the city and the visual arts, and I think that, but there needs to be some inspirational leadership that again articulates at that, and also there needs to be that knowledge by our public, by the leaders of our city, our county, and our state, to understand and make sure that they are properly informed and have the background to know what arts and culture mean to this state. And so it's not something that we can relax about. It's, as a board member, you join a board, you are an advocate, you are committed, you articulate the importance you articulate the art form and its contribution, its needs. It's always important to include, invite new people in, make sure that young people have a chance to be exposed to all the arts. And one of the joys of art in public places is that you do see it, right? On the street, and it's something you can interface with. But all these things need are empowered even more when you take time to talk about what the arts mean or what a particular art form and its characteristics and qualities and its need in order to sustain and present programs and exhibitions for the public.
I have a last question now.
Yes.
This is just going back to Allied Arts to close out, and I'm just wondering if you could give me your overall thoughts about the effectiveness of Allied Arts over the years, not necessarily now because there's a different kind of allied arts at this point than maybe that there was in the 70s and the 60s
Yeah.
and the 80s. So just wondering if you could give me your overall thoughts about the effectiveness, especially in that 60s, 70s, 80s period.
Well, they laid the foundation for arts and culture in this city. They were the citizens that were the advocates, and laying that foundation, and the integrity of those individuals that worked hard to assure that the arts were honored, funded, respected, and had an opportunity to be presented to all members to the citizens of this city, this county, this state. And so that foundation was laid, and now it's critical not just to rest on our laurels, but there needs to continually be that organization or that group of individuals, and I think there are some that that carry on that role that really expresses that what the arts mean to this city, what they mean to us as individuals, what they mean to our society. And I think we need that at the city, we need it at the county, we need it at the state, and we need it in Washington, D.C. So there's work to be done, but I think that Allied Arts can be extremely proud of those years when they really laid the foundation of support and articulated the role of the arts in our region and our city, and they can take a great deal of pride in that.
Well, thank you. I think that's great. I think we can...
Yeah, terrifying.
That was